You just heard Michael Steele as we were heading into the break. And I can't tell you, in my years of doing this, the things I've learned and the lines of demarcation that have been drawn. When I see him speak like that on a network like MSNBC, it makes my skin crawl, and I need to go take a hot shower and scrub the filth off of me, because once upon a time, ladies and gentlemen, I remember fawning all over him when he was the RNC chair. I remember bringing him into Philadelphia. Eddie, I brought that man into Philadelphia with my audience, and not just him, it was a dual evening event with him and Jonah freaking Goldberg, Fast Eddie. That's how much things have changed in just a little over a decade.
Oh, man. It's crazy, because how would you have known? How would you have known then? At the time, it was
but that's what the Republican Party was, right? And what it did, what it's done, what Trump has done is exposed what the Republican Party was. That's the point. So many of you and people like me trusted people like Michael Steele, that they actually cared about genuine conservative principles. He didn't. He never did. And not that I ever thought he was like the hardest of hardcore conservatives. I didn't. But I never would have dreamt that you'd see him on MSNBC scolding cuts to government as the former Republican chairman. But you know why we picked him, because Republicans back then were stupid too, and they said, well, if Obama's their guy, I guess we need a black guy. So how about Michael Steele? He's a black guy. There wasn't a lot of thought put into that. And then our old friend, Jonah Goldberg, who didn't used to be a lunatic, but now is so ravaged with Trump derangement syndrome, he too has gone completely off the reservation. And Elon Musk is supposedly persona non grata. And guys like Michael Steele say, why don't you go back to fixing your little rocket ships? And we'll handle the business of government, because we're so good at government. By the way, who are you? Michael Steele, you're telling a lot about yourself when you sit there and you say, why don't you go back to doing what you do at SpaceX, and we'll handle you, Michael Steele, MSNBC? Who? When you say we, who are you talking about, Tonto? We'll handle government. We are the government, you jackass. I don't know how to break this to you, Michael Steele. We, the 340 million Americans in this country, are the government. You're not the government. The 535 members of Congress are representatives of us, but they're not the government. We, the people, are the government, you arrogant fool. How dare you? And you insult Elon Musk. You insult Elon Musk's development of amazing technology that could get us to not just the moon, but even Mars. Technology that saved or will save a stranded astronaut. Technology that has saved people in flood-ravaged, fire-ravaged areas of this country when government failed them with things like FEMA. And he's sitting there beating his chest about the efficacy of government and services people need. FEMA was a complete joke. FEMA was a corrupt joke. It left people to die. It literally ignored Trump voters. Our tax dollars that are supposed to go to our fellow Americans in a time of need were ignored if they had a Trump sign in their yard. And along comes Elon Musk with something like Starlink and says, I can get you guys connectivity and communications ability in North Carolina or in Southern California where there is none. I can help where government didn't. Go back to your little rocket ship, says the condescending twerp on MSNBC. I kept this story aside last week from the New York Post just to drive home this point. One of the NASA astronauts trapped on the International Space Station says he believes Elon Musk's claim that the Biden administration rejected the SpaceX CEO's offer to help bring the team home. Barry Wilmore made the comment last week during an in-orbit press conference with fellow castaway Sunita Williams, 9 months after their Boeing Starliner capsule malfunctioned and left the pair stuck. One questioner asked about Musk's recent claim that former President Joe Biden had intentionally stalled their rescue for political reasons. In an earlier question, Wilmore denied that politics had anything to do with the team's delayed departure, but he seemed to shift his stance when answering the later question. He went on to say, quote, "I can only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. I believe him." SpaceX launched a Crew Dragon capsule to rescue the pair last September, but after it docked at the space station, NASA opted to stall its return. And then the post goes on to talk about Musk's political work since then. Elon Musk has done more to develop the technology to better the culture and explore the great beyond than anybody in human history. It's not even debatable. And by the way, yes, I was correct. He does have a mild form of autism, I guess called Asperger's. And I apologize to you folks in that community. I don't know it, so I don't mean to speak of what I don't know here. But I was reminded that, in fact, yes, Elon Musk has publicly stated that he has Asperger's syndrome, which is considered a milder form of autism. And he revealed that, actually, ironically, interestingly, while he was hosting Saturday Night Live back in May of 2021. Quote, "I'm actually making history tonight as the first person with Asperger's to host SNL, or at least the first to admit it." Musk has since referenced it occasionally, framing it as part of what drives his unique perspective and intense focus, like in a 2023 X post where he quipped, "My condition lets me see the world as a giant machine. Sometimes it's a feature, sometimes it's a bug." Well, you can assume his condition lets him see the government as a giant machine. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's turning AI, which, his Grok technology and his AI technology that he's developed with his engineers, he's turning that loose on government waste, fraud, and abuse too. And so they're attacking this guy. They're attacking this guy who's rescued people, who's opened communications, who's restored the First Amendment, who's trying to claw back tax dollars that have been wasted on grift and Marxist propaganda. He's done nothing but try to help this country. And what do people like Michael Steele or SNL, and sadly Mike Myers, who I think is a brilliant comedic genius in many ways, but they're making fun of a guy who's just trying to help. And Democrats, their desire, of course, is to make this guy the black hat, a shadowy figure you can't trust, a bad guy. And I told you that Republicans were going to start falling for this. I saw this headline in the Washington Post over the weekend, or Times, I think it was. It said, Rick Scott, the Florida congressman, Senator, Rick Scott, it said something to the effect, does not believe Elon Musk has the power to make cuts to government. And I said in response on X, no, of course he doesn't. We never said he did. Nobody thinks Elon Musk has the power to cut government. Elon Musk is making recommendations, and now they're trying to drive this wedge between Elon Musk and guys like Marco Rubio. The whole sketch on Saturday Night Live this weekend was about how Elon Musk and Marco Rubio were fighting. They're actually trying to, it's interesting, they hate him now so much and his efficacy so much, they're actually making Trump and the rest of his cabinet almost normalized, and that he's some sort of outlier villain. Don't get wobbly on this, folks. Don't let these people convince you that Elon Musk is a black hat or a bad guy. And don't let these squishy Republicans get nervous about him. He's the best thing that's happened to us in a very long time. It's revolutionary, in fact.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.